Don't always look like to look back after a disappointing weekend, but you would have assessed it all. You can't have many more weekends like that one.
No, like I said, we played a way that is not our way, and only that way. And I can understand if we played that way a little bit and tried a different way, but we were very samey. We're not, predictable in the end. And no, it's, we've got to be better. It's as simple as that. It was disappointing. There was nothing in the game at all. Like I said, I don't think there was much quality from either side on the day, and we fell to a 25-yard rocket that we've helped when it was our corner at the other end. So it was just disappointing all round.
You focus exactly on everything on your own team. You said that they've got to be playing more football. You can't play that way. How can you make that happen when you see things developing on the pitch that you're not getting what you want? How do you try and alter all that?
Well, you have to try and be fair to them, to give them enough time to get themselves out of, so it doesn't become predictable. What they're going to do. I think maybe at other clubs you can hold them off. We've all seen managers come to Aggressive Road and hold players off after 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I think that's a little unfair. And the same time, half time, maybe, that's when subs have the most impact. That's been proven. So there's that side to it, but then you go, well, you've got to tell them, and then if they're still not doing it, then because listen, we're talking about human beings. They're not meaning to do things wrong or make mistakes or not carry out what you're trying to ask them to do. So you've got to be fair to them, but at the same time you've got to try and win a game of football. So that's the balance you've got to have when you're trying to make decisions, and what you're telling them, and you've got to keep telling them so that they get the message.
Over the last probably couple of months, you sort of switched around with your system sort of thing, playing three at the back and your two wing backs. Probably had mixed success with it, really. You showed signs of improvement, and you've had a couple of dips. Is that something that you assess with your coaching staff again this week before you go into your next game, whether it's time for a change and see what you can do? Yeah,
well, we played a different way at Rotherham and got a point, and I think the second in the league, third in the league. So we've got to take that into consideration. I don't want to say too much more.
The only thing is about that, what you have got when you're coaching your players, that they can move into that any type of formation, anything you ask. It's been proved with certain players playing in roles that are very unfamiliar to them.
Yeah. Travis playing at right centre half, which he can do. I think he might end up being there. Obviously Mika's been playing wing back. We've got to find a way that suits everyone, in their best position to get the best out of them. That's the challenge, whilst also trying to negate whatever the opposition are going to throw at us. So we've still got plenty of fight in us. We've got 20 games to go, and we've got to win a good few of them. And if we do, then we'll give ourselves a chance.
Donovan Daniels got himself fixed up last 24 hours or so to go to Walsall. Obviously, unfortunately, didn't work out for him in the way that he missed games through injury and didn't get in on a regular basis. Has that helped you a little bit, that you've been able to just start manoeuvring one or two players out who have not featured?
Yeah, look, we don't need to move players out. We don't. Listen, on Donovan, I said to him at the minute, if things carry on the way it carries on in the summer, you probably won't be here next year. And if you want to sort of take the plunge now before you're in the same market as 1,500 other players, then I'll be receptive to that. And he did, and I think it was probably a wise move for everyone, certainly for him, because he's going to play games. I've got a game tonight against Bradford, so whether he's involved or not, I don't know. But you know, he's got more chance of playing games of football, and he's got more chance of staying in the game, you know, for next year and beyond. So I think from that point of view, it was a sensible move all round for all parties, and it goes with our best wishes. I have to say, he's a lovely bloke. I really like him. He's articulate, well-rounded. He's got some left field views, but he's really engaging. It's a real positive thing. He is who he is. He's authentic, and I really liked him. And like I say, I said to him as he left, I said, look, when you're coming back up the M6, if you want to pop in for a coffee at any point, then just turn left and I'll get the kettle on and I'll have as long as you want, because he's earned that respect. He's not been in and out of trouble. I wish he'd have been a little bit fitter for a little bit longer, so we could have played him in a few more games. But so he's handled himself really well. So like I say, he goes with our best wishes.
You've 2 or 3 more like that who've been with you since the summer. I'm looking at Terrell Thomas and Magic Gomez and Callum McFadzean. Are they in the same boat? Have you had conversations with those lads?
I've had conversations with a hell of a lot of lads about lots of different things. And the 3 you mentioned, I've had conversations with them as well. They'll remain private. And listen, we've got more to do bringing people in. So that's where we're at, and that's what we've got to do.
You talked about that, bringing people in. Bring us up to date, where you're up to and what's moving.
I'll be, I know I said it last week, we expected 2 to be in last week, but they were beyond our control. I'll stop short of saying 100% certain, but you can never be certain until they've signed on the dotted line. But there'll be incomings this week without a shadow of doubt, because it's needed.
So you're really expecting it to be a busy time again for you, a bit like it was at the end of the summer. Unfortunately, you've not been able just to pull them in the early weeks of the January window, but you're very confident that you're going to have a better squad come the end of January.
Yeah, look, I don't think any team wouldn't have had the impact of losing 4 players in August. I think every team, 4 starting players, I think every team would have suffered. We was no different. You're losing the player on deadline day, you had 2 retires, sold another one. That impacts everyone, and you've got no time to change it. I think it's going to be a little bit. I think it's going to be a little bit more, I would say, structured, planned, because we can control more. I don't think anyone saw 2 retires, and obviously what happened with Owen, I don't think anyone saw that coming either. So we're in better shape now than we were then, and hopefully by this time next week, on the 1st, we'll know exactly where we're at, and we'll be in good shape for the remaining games of the season. This is
the last chance, isn't it, of the two changes, as you quite rightly point out. You fingers crossed you could get it right. Is it sort of a short-term fix, or is it a long-term sort of situation that you're looking at with your players?
Both.
Just looking at the game then, and with Rotherham coming up, you mentioned, you got your point there. You played them in the cup, and it was a good footballing match. And I suppose you're expecting no change from Paul Warren.
Yeah. Look, obviously we've been there and drew them. They bring all their big guns on in the Papa John's, and we bring on, Joel Taberner. And that was the difference. That's not me having a slight at Joel Taberner anyway. I don't mean like that. But they're bringing on £500,000 players, and we're bringing on players that are finding their way. And I still believe that was the right thing to do. They bring on an international footballer and £500,000 player because they need to win the game. Well, that's fine. Certainly in that competition. That competition, I said after the game, has served us well. It's allowed us to give players opportunities their first taste in a lot of aspects. You know, but the league is a bit different. You know, they made 9 changes that day, so it's we're expecting a different team, similar style. You know, I think we made 6 or 7. So we've got to make sure that we stand up to what we know Rotherham are good at and how they go about it, and then, you know, expose them for what they are, if you like. It will be a difficult game. We know that they'll have a big following, and it's, you know, it's an important game.
The last weekend, there's 1 or 2 clubs got surprise results. We spoke about that, I think, before we even kicked off against Cambridge, that there'll be 1 or 2 getting surprise results. It's down to the crew to probably make everybody sit up and think they've got a surprise result of the weekend.
Yeah, look, we've got to look after ourselves. Our performances have been good up until Saturday, and that's why we've picked up a fair few wins. And we know if we perform well, we've got a great chance of beating anyone in the league. However, you know, I don't think anyone had us down to beat Charlton, but we did. And so we've got to make sure that belief and then performances and that level of performance continues, because if it does, then we've got a great chance of winning lots of games of football and finishing outside that bottom 4.